It's that time of the year, right? I mean, the yesterday it was starting to cool off, and I think you can start to see that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we you and I talk about lots of different things, but right now the hot topic is the elections that are coming up September 21st. If you didn't hear, I just said September 21st, September 21st, September 21st. Why do I say that so much? Because there's an election on September 21st, and I cannot put enough emphasis on this may be one of the most important elections that the city of Ocala has faced. I know it's the most important one they've faced since I've lived here 20 years. So, and Galen, you've been here all your life. This could be the most important one of your lifetime too, huh?
Well, yeah, and historically, the mayoral race has always been a popularity contest with two candidates who feel nearly identical about the direction and the policies that they want to enact. Right? I mean, it's always been razor thin. We live in a very conservative county and a conservative town, and that's always been our approach. And for the first time that I can remember, there's a legitimate candidate who has a much more liberal view and a more left-wing view than I think anybody who's run for office maybe in Ocala. Not just mayor, but maybe for office. I know there's been some that tried to run for school board, but really didn't have much of a chance. But this is the first one where they really have a chance.
Yeah, it definitely puts. Usually, you have to find the razor thin differences, like you said. That's not the case this week. That's not the case this election cycle. The differences between the two candidates are stark. That's a good word to use, stark. They're polarizing, the differences between the two candidates, and they are different agendas on where the candidates feel the city of Ocala should be headed in the future. And so that and even though it's a weak mayor system, that the city council actually has the power, and the city manager and the mayor has a weak mayor system, it's still a position of out in front where the mayor is the representative of the town. Plus, they have the call on who is the police chief. And while both of them have been asked would they replace the police chief, and they both said no, they both have very different ways about how they would go about their first few days. If Kent Gwynn stayed in office, it'd be the same. If Manalfa Corey wins, it would be a fact-finding mission, according to her, to see where the police department is, where it needs to go, and in fact, if there needs to be changes anywhere. And that, a lot of people aren't prepared for that.
Well, and I think we're undersigned. I mean, I think that Corey's, I don't know if she's publicly said it, but based on what she's said in the past, she wants less of a what we would, she doesn't necessarily want every call to be carried with somebody with a gun, right?
Right.
She wants that whole approach to be, she wants our police force to be more psychiatrists than.
She thinks there's a need for more. There's a need for more social policing than there is for uniform policing. And she even said she would like to take the militaristic. I can't even say the word. You know what I mean? She wants them not to be dressed so much like military personnel. And I think she's talking about SWAT and stuff like that. She'd like everybody in regular uniforms or golf shirts or stuff like that. A nicer, more approachable police force is what she's saying, because she said feels there's a disconnect. And she has also publicly said that she would be a proponent of an advisory board, an oversight committee of civilians to stand watchdog over the police department. The mayor said that's a bad idea. We have something like that. It's called internal affairs. So it's just the stark differences between these two candidates it's the difference between black and white, really.
Yeah, and I'll tell you personally, if I call 911, the last thing I want is somebody to show up in a khakis and a polo.
No, I want somebody to show up with a tank, an AR-15 rifle. I want SWAT to show up. I want overkill. I want the dogs to show up.
That's right. I don't want Jake from State Farm at my house.
No, sir.
You
I've
know,
seen
I
what he
want to
done.
buy
I've seen
insurance
what
from
he's
that
done.
guy.
I've seen what he's done to Chris Paul's house. I don't want anything to do with that.
Correct. Yeah, you know, I want, you know, I want some of my friends that I know who are in the sheriff's department and the police department to show up with their Glock. And I want them highly trained and know how to use that gun and know when to use that gun. But I also believe that this hasn't been an issue historically in our town, right? That we know of. Now maybe there's this underground thing that nobody talks about. I've never seen it, and you know, and I'd like to think I know some people in all parts of our community, but I don't want somebody showing up to my house in khakis and a polo to save my life, or if there's a burglar or something like that, or there's a domestic abuse issue. I don't, you know, that's not what I want. Sorry.
When I call 911 because I have a burglar or I have a unruly person in my yard that's threatening me or my family or something, I don't want, you know, what is their mental state? I don't give a damn. I want them off my property, and I want you to come get them. That's all. I don't care. I don't care that you think that we can talk them down or anything. What I want is you to come tackle them, put them in shackles, throw them in the backseat of the car, and get them the hell off my property. Deal with their mental state later.
Sure. And I'm not saying, and I don't think you are. Well, you may be. I'm not saying fire first and ask questions later. Right? I don't think either one of us is saying that. What we're saying is, you know, I am a believer that a good guy with a gun beats a bad guy with a gun. And that's the only way to beat a bad guy with a gun is by with a gun, right? You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. I think Al Capone said it best. And again, that is at the central core of this election, right? The rest is purely politics. But at the core of this election is how our police department operates. And then that's a big deal. And because at what point does it become, okay, we're not going to arrest people for misdemeanors or petty theft, right? And next thing you know, and I had this conversation with someone and like, well, you know, that doesn't mean it's going to turn into San Francisco. Well, it just means we're on the path to San Francisco.
Yeah, once the
right?
slope, once you get on
go into a CVS with a garbage bag.
Once you get on the slope, you know, unless you hit a tree on the skis, it's slippery going downhill.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, San Francisco. I haven't been to that town in a while, but you know, and I went in the early '90s, and then I went in the early maybe when was that 2004. And you could already begin to see that town change. And now, you know, there are parts where there were these really nice restaurants, and it was a place where you could walk around comfortably. Now people don't even go, and that's been 10 years, and that's because of their political views and the elections and the decisions they make. And one of the things I'm proud of right now is that I'm not stopped at every corner by panhandlers. By people begging for money, right? You drive through Gainesville, which I do.
Yeah.
They are
everywhere.
Every single stoplight, there is somebody standing there with a sign, right? There are starting to get more and more tents with people sleeping, and again, I don't think that's good for either the community or the person sleeping on the side of the road.
No, it's not. Hey, we need to take.
And again, anybody who says, "Well, if they're veterans, well, we need to help them." If there's no such thing as a homeless veteran unless they want to be.
Unless they want to be, exactly.
There are so many. So they're never veterans, by the way.
And if they are, it's because they chose to be that way.
Well, and you can go and get them help. I mean,
right.
you guys have them on the show.
But 9 times out of 10, when you see that guy saying homeless, hungry, former veteran, please give anything you can, that's a lie most of the time.
Correct.
Most of the time. Hey, something that's not a lie is the three groups of people that sponsor this show, and we need to go give them their just due for having you here every day. We'll be right back after this timeout. 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.
Are you or your loved one being released from a hospital and wondering how you'll manage? Inform your physician that you want to go to Palm Garden of Ocala at 2700 Southwest 34th Street for your rehabilitation. Palm Garden provides pain management, post-discharge follow-up, diabetic care, psychosocial support, and so much more. Plus, they even offer outpatient rehab. This award-winning care facility has a team of licensed professionals dedicated to enhancing your independence. Call 352-854-6262 today.
Hi, this is JP from Penn Flooring here in Ocala. I would like to invite you to come in and visit our spacious showroom where we have solutions for every style and budget. From wall-to-wall carpet to hardwood floors and tiles, we have an unsurpassed selection of flooring. At Penn Flooring, we've provided quality customer service with a family touch for over 25 years. Visit our website at pennflooring.com or come by our showroom, 1201 Southwest 17th Street, just over the bridge. Penn Flooring, quality customer service with a family touch.
Are you wasting time boxing up packages and going to the post office or UPS store? Are you tired of not knowing what you'll pay when you get there? Just Ship offers pickup service and flat rate packaging and postage rates, which takes the guesswork out of shipping while saving you time and money. So quit wasting valuable time and money. Call or text Just Ship at 352-234-3840. That's 352-234-3840. Just Shipped.
Now you've done it. Have you lost your mind? He's back. And you're listening again. A legend in his own mind. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Here's Tom Schmitz live on WOCA. The Source.
Welcome back to the Ocala Talk. With Tom Schmitz, folks at Penn Flooring, they're family owned and operated, serving Marion County for over 30 plus years. They owe every bit of their success to their unrivaled customer service. They have experience in both the commercial and residential flooring. Go see their amazing showroom at 1201 Southwest 17th Street here in Ocala, or give them a call at 352-351-3420. Also, Palm Garden Health and Rehabilitation Center. They're located at 2700 Southwest 34th Street. They offer skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. If you have any questions for Palm Garden, give them a call, 352-854-6262. That's 352-854-6262. And, of course, the folks that Just Shipped, they've flipped the script on shipping. You no longer have to box your item up and go stand in line and wait for, 45 minutes at a U.S. Post Office or however long you wait at UPS store. You just reach out to Just Shipped for a small pickup fee. They come pick up your item. They package it for you. They do the legwork of standing in line, saving you not only time but money. JustShip.net for more info. Galen, from Life South, back on the line with us. Galen, somebody asked me a question last night, and I'll be honest with you, I like to think I can answer most questions. Although I will tell you I'll tell you something about how bad I did at trivia last night later in the show. But so they asked me, Tom, you do with politics. You talk about politics. You watch more of the news than I do and stuff. I need you to help me with a question. And I go, shoot, if I can help you, I can help you. They go, why is a 25-minute phone call to a Ukrainian president trying to get him to do favors for you impeachable, but leaving 15,000 plus Americans in the hands of the Taliban to then be assaulted and 13 military plus like 60 civilians killed at the Afghan airport yesterday from Al-Qaeda? Why is it that's not an impeachable offense? And I said, I have no damn idea. Can you help us out, Galen?
Well, I think it's because of who's in charge and what their priorities are. And I think we saw it for 4 years that there are some people who hated Trump more than they loved our country.
100%.
Right. And
they hated a person more than they loved the United States.
Right. And that was something I could never quite understand. And I would always ask them, I'm like, well, where would you rather be? And they would say things like, oh, I'd rather be anywhere than in the U.S. with this guy in charge right now. And I'm like, and I would always follow up. I'm like, well, where have you traveled? Right? Where have you been in the world? Where have you lived? you know, and it was always, well, what's that got to do with it? I'm like, that's got
It's
everything.
got everything to do with it.
You know, you know, I've been, again, I think we talked about how I've been all over the world. And again, there's no place I'd rather live. And even with Biden as a president, it doesn't help right now that we just got censored by the parliament of our greatest historical ally in England. That's not
The
helpful.
mother country.
But yeah, well, that's arguable.
Of course it is.
Just
but,
because they rule this doesn't mean they're our mother. But again, you look at all of this, and this is what we're dealing with right now. This is a real world issue, and I think part of it is they're just unwilling to tell us how many people are actually in Afghanistan, and I. You know, you hear the story about the.
I don't
the
think they
class
know,
from-
Galen. I don't
from
think they have
San
any
Diego.
idea. I don't think they have any idea.
But then, and I've never quite understood this. As a leader, sometimes it's okay to say, you know what, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have, you know, these.
I don't have the information, but I can get it.
Well, and maybe you can. You know, there's just information
Look,
you cannot get.
There's a guy running. There's a guy running for District 4 in Ocala City Council. His thing is, Curtis Jones, his thing is, I don't know the answer to that question you just asked me, but I'll go try to find somebody or find a way to get the answer for you, you know, as soon as I can. That's all we're asking the President of the United States and his administration to do. Give us answers, and if your answer is, I don't know that right now, but we're looking into it, that's a lot better than nothing.
Well, I think the problem is, I mean, again, and we can disagree, right, on whether or not we should have left Afghanistan, right? We can. I personally don't think that's a place where we should be, but we can agree that we should have had a plan for leaving.
Yeah, and we didn't. Hold on.
And I watched Biden's press conference yesterday.
That was a joke.
He basically blamed Trump, and I was like, oh man, that's crazy.
I know. Hey, let's go to the phone lines real quick. You're on with Galen and Tom. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. President Biden has had his Munich moment. If we be nice to them, then they might not dislike us so much.
Did you just compare Joe Biden?
I have a hint for you, Mr. Biden. They hate us just because we're here.
Thanks for the call, Jim. I believe we just had if I read that right, I believe Jim just referenced the appeasement that was given by Neville Chamberlain.
Yeah, I you know, and it's something that's been thrown away around for a long time. But let's be very clear. Everybody now is running into Afghanistan. China's making a huge push there.
Everybody is.
Russia's making a huge push there. Could it become Germany of the late 1930s? I don't know. That's a big stretch. I mean, they haven't invaded anybody else. I mean, I don't like to throw away terms like that because I think it lessens what actually happened during the Munich moment. But I understand the comparison. I definitely think we had and I never ever thought we would have a Saigon type moment. The way we did last week.
And we did.
You know what's crazy about that?
But at least most of the diplomats and all were out of South Vietnam before the military left.
Correct. Well, I was going to tell you. Do you know how long it had been since we decided we were no longer fighting in Vietnam compared to when the Saigon moment happened?
It'd been like 3 years, hadn't it?
Yeah, it was like I think it was 4.
It was either 71 or 72, and then we pulled out in 75.
The people that were left there were actually government officials. There are kids from a high school in San Diego, California, stuck in Afghanistan. And what's sad is I grew up in an America with Reagan, and when I was in the Navy, there was never once where I felt And when I'm traveling in these foreign countries, and including
You felt
China,
like you were unsafe.
right?
You never felt that, did you?
I would never. No, I would. It's not that whether I was safe or not. If something happened to me and I got arrested, right, in a prison in Bahrain, I knew that my government would do everything they could to get me out.
You wouldn't ding that now. You would not say that now.
Now the administration is saying, well, get to the airport. And then 3 hours later, they're saying, whoa, don't go to the airport. Well, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Put a mask on. Whoa, no, put a mask on. Wait, no, you don't have to put a mask on. Now put a mask back on.
And again, and if I hear one more person say, well, why are they going to Afghanistan? They're going on a mission trip. You know, but we are supposed to protect our own.
Yeah, that's what gets me.
And
Is
right
people
now,
people I saw all over the news this week. Well, why was that group of teenagers from San Diego in Afghanistan? They were there taking the gospel to people who may want to hear it. That's why mission trips happen all the time. Don't start with, well, they shouldn't have been there in the first place. The American government should protect Americans no matter where on the earth they are.
That's correct. And by the way, that's the purpose of the military, and you just pull them out. And, again, it's kind of devastating. He's not going to get impeached, but how if this gets much worse.
Well, he's not going to get impeached right now. Come January, February next year, if the House and Senate flop in the midterms, then we're going to have the Republicans are going to do the same thing to Joe Biden that the Democrats did to Donald Trump. They're going to try to impeach him.
You want Kamala?
No, they're going to try to impeach the whole administration.
Well, you can't. It doesn't quite work that way.
You know as well as I do, there are Republicans sitting in. You know as well as I do, there are Republicans sitting in the wings who feel like that's exactly what Donald Trump faced for 2 years was a coup attempt, and they want their blood. They want it. I promise you, they're sitting there waiting.
Two wrongs don't make a right.
100%. I agree. I agree with you 100%.
That's not good for our democracy.
No, it's not.
Right.
But that's what's going to happen.
So, no, I don't think it is. There's a lot. There's a lot in there.
Well, let's take a break and come back because we're up against a hard break here. Let's take a break and come back because this is something. People are talking about COVID-19 and how it's run rampant and ICUs are filling up. They're wagging the dog because the most important situation to me right now is there are American lives at stake and an administration who says, get to the airport and we can save you. Other than that, we don't know what to do for you. We'll be back after this short time out. You're listening to Ocala Talks, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM. We're coming to you live from the International Airport in the Brick City Beautiful of Ocala, Florida. This is The Source.
Broadcasting from the Ocala International Airport, this is WOCA AM, W242CA FM, Ocala, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Today in Ag News from the Southeast Ag Network, USDA has an